welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Crossings Into the Light. I am James.
And I am Darren.
And what do we have today for a wonderful discussion? Why we're missing our cohort?
Aaron will be back next week, hopefully. So we wish him all the best.
Absolutely.
And today we are discussing public investigations versus private investigations. Because last show we talked about the bridge tender, and we talked a lot about doing the public investigations.
Right.
I figured since Aaron's still out, we can go back in, fill in public versus private.
Nice.
The differences, the processes we do with each one. And of course, we brought a whole bunch of our gear, not all of our gear.
Not all of it. Just a small sampling.
Just a small sampling.
Yes.
In the middle of the table, you will see a K2 meter with the green light. This is normally used for a very simple EMF. We can also ask spirits questions. They can light it up. We tend to use this one more for the public investigations, as well as just ourselves if you're sitting in a dark room somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll go over equipment after a little bit. So let's tackle public investigations first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to be the simplest and easiest thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So in a public investigation, 9 out of 10 times we are given a sheet of the history. A prior investigator who has knowledge of the place will come in, sit down and go, all right, James, room 2D, there is a spirit, it's a boy. It likes to sit here. Over here in 3D, we have another ghost. It's a woman, and they kind of go through what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we don't really get a chance to do the walkthrough most of the times.
Right. You don't get all the real details of the meat of the story, so to say.
You're given the basics.
Yeah.
And then you are basically, sometimes that happens earlier in the afternoon. Sometimes it happens 15 minutes before the investigation.
And in some cases, it could be a day or two before you actually even get there.
Which I actually prefer a day or two before. That way you have time to prep how you're going to do everything.
Right. Yeah.
Because it is kind of a performance piece. It is, you're showing everybody how you do things in an hour increment.
Right.
Which is very short.
Oh, definitely short.
But at these things, you're basically giving your people, all right, James, you have these 10 people.
Yep.
You have these 10 people. Here's your radio. Turn to channel 3. We will beep you when it's time to change locations.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go. So normally what we're going off of is the information either we've been given, if it's a new location, or previous knowledge if we've already hit the place a couple times, such as the bridge tender.
I was just going to say, this is kind of tying into last week's discussion on the bridge tender.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you're definitely right. Getting just the bits and pieces and nuts and bolts, so to speak, of you got this. And, there's occasions where there might be something new that you won't even know until you actually get in there.
Exactly. But the problem is, it's not the private investigation. And we call it private investigation because normally it's just the team going in. It's a phone call. Somebody's having issues.
Right.
Again, we'll cover that in a little bit more. When you're doing, when we did the Masonic Lodge in St. Helens for our paranormal adventures, because, it was a good, solid name. We didn't come up with it. Trying to cash in there. Again, we didn't think of it. We were working for the building owner at the time. We were actually given the weekend beforehand to go in because I asked them, I said, listen, I need to go in. I need to know where all the hot spots are.
Right.
I need to know where Wi-Fi, electrical boxes, outlets. I need to know what's going to set off
security
what.
systems, cameras. Yeah, all that.
Now, that's that 1 out of 10 times that you're given a lot of time to go in, examine, look at things.
Maybe even get a chance, an idea of where you want to put stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, we were able to go through, and of course they had a Wi-Fi box.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're running the K2 around, we're scanning everything. Where is it going to set off? So if we're in an investigation,
Try to avoid that area.
Try to avoid that area. It's a false positive,
Right.
and we could easily use those false positives in a public investigation to be a little bit more sneaky. Ooh, there's a ghost here.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people think in a public investigation, that you're going to see something, something's going to happen.
All
It
the
is going to be ghost adventures. You are with Zach Baggins. Oh my God, what was that?
right.
9 out of 10 times, you're not going to get a lot of stuff.
Right. I was just gonna say, 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna get anything. You're not gonna see anything. You're not gonna hear anything. You're not gonna see any. Well, objects move, obviously. So
Because you're only there for an hour.
yeah, if you're there several hours, there's a greater chance. But still, there's that chance nothing does happen.
Right. So, I mean, which we are not, by the way, we are not those investigators that are going to
No.
purposely hit a hot zone and say, ooh, it must be the ghost of Billy right here. Can you feel how cold it is? Yeah, because you're underneath the air conditioning. No, we're not those people. I was at once upon a time asked if I could do a little extra flavor, a little bit of spice to an investigation. And I'm like, no, that's not what we do.
Yeah, no. I mean, if someone asked me to do something like that, yeah, I tend to just walk away from the whole situation because that's not the purpose why we're there.
Exactly. I mean, we're there to educate and investigate.
Absolutely.
That should be on a shirt. Educate and investigate.
Nice. After a show.
But no, they were basically just saying, listen, we're really not coming up with much. But then, of course, there have been those nights when we've done a public investigation that everything happens, everything goes above boards, and people think you're faking it.
Oh, yeah.
Like upstairs, Masonic Lodge, we had the shadow figure walking around. Everybody saw the shadow. It was always at the other end of the room, but it's a public investigation. So it's not like I can have someone break off, okay, take this equipment, go down there and figure out what's going on. Because it's a public investigation, you're on somebody else's property, you have to keep everybody in check.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like the bridge tender, if we see some, it's not like we can just go to the far side of the hallway and be like, hang on, guys, I see a shadow. I'm going over there.
Exactly. I mean, you're pretty much right there. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But for the Masonic Lodge, we actually set up the laptop. We did a couple EVPs. I played the EVPs. We ran it up on a giant projector screen so everybody could see it. We amplified the sound, cranked it up theater THX style.
Mm-hmm.
So if we happen to have gotten some, we were able to play it back at that point. Because when we were doing Paranormal Adventures, I wanted it to be as close to a real investigation as possible.
Right.
Of course, I say real. It should be private. Because all investigations are real, unless you're putting on a show. And that costs extra.
Yeah, definitely. So being... Oh, no. Here we go. Did it again, man. Lost the train of thought. The real investigations. I mean, for me, those... the public investigations, I should say. I tend to, with obviously example of the bridge tender from last week's discussion, we go in with multiple teams. It's not just one versus more 9 times out of 10 a private. I prefer working with other teams a lot of time because shared info. I mean, you may have got something that I didn't, or vice versa, or we both got the same thing. Just, hey, did you get that? And checking that out. And but the public investigations, I need to do more.
They're fun.
I've done one down in downtown, but I think the place is closed now. I mean, obviously it was closed due to COVID, but
yeah,
I don't know if the owners kind of reopened or even partial. But I've been down in their basement area. That was just a real active place, and I wish I had more time more people I could bring in. Unfortunately, it was one of those where, um, no, we just want you, nobody else. And I'm like, God, I know two teams right now that would just jump, you jump on this, and hell with it. It's Harvey's Comedy Club. They're,
Yeah.
but that basement down there. But yeah, I mean, you would have everything that you do and all that. Yeah, you would just go crazy. I mean, it was very active from the time we set foot in the building.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff is down in the basement, but upstairs as well. And you could. I didn't know too much of the history before even getting there.
Right.
So that's another one of those things, like we were saying earlier. You may not even get that information until you walk in the building. So,
Yeah. I mean, the public investigations, and we call them public because we are bringing people in, they're fun to do. You can try to uh, inspire another person to join up. Maybe we'll do their own team, get into it a little bit more, so they're not looking at it
I
as
wouldn't necessarily have them start their own team per se. I mean, I would have them do more research, maybe guest spot on the team or something like that for a while, and see what they think of it then.
yeah, because I mean, a lot of people, and I'm not trying to knock any of the paranormal shows, but a lot of people watch these shows and they think you roll up to the door, knock on it. Hey, we like to investigate. You go in, you investigate, you're done,
Mm-hmm.
you're gone. Everything fits within an hour time and you're just in, out, gone. Oh, yep, we got all the evidence.
Right.
Well, when we talk about private investigations, we'll go over the real steps because there's a lot of steps that if people actually sat down and viewed a paranormal investigator,
Mm-hmm. From beginning to
um,
end, from the moment they get the call.
the moment they get the call till we're all wrapped up, and it's not even done in a night.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these cases could take a month of researching, then you're going in, then
And
you're
yeah, you're not doing it just one night or 2 nights. It could be a week, 2 weeks, even a full month, depending on how bad that situation is.
and then there's the going over all the evidence, which is the most mind-numbing thing on the planet.
What's the best part of the evidence review? Do you like doing?
I actually like listening for EVPs.
I like the video. I don't know why, but
Well,
I do love the audio as well, because I'll catch something and I'll pass it to like my wife and say, "Hey, see if you heard this," and she's, yeah, no, didn't hear it. And I'm like, "Here, let me turn it up a little bit for you." No, no, no. I'm like, okay, we got to figure this out because I know I heard something.
yeah, I normally until my laptops died, I was doing it at the house. I would just sit down, but on the headphones, just start listening, and if I heard something, I'd turn it up and pass it off to Kayla. But video, normally, I'm just like I'm staring at, especially static cams. I hate looking at static cams, but at the same point, you have to look at the static cams, and we'll discuss static cams. Um, I think I like the audio better because I can put on the little graph on it, so you can
Mm-hmm.
start seeing the peaks and valleys,
Yeah.
and then I'll blow that way up, so it's like every microsecond.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it down to the finest, and then I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, all right, here's where I'm talking, and then there's a little space of quiet. What is this little valley right here?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like to just hone in on. I was doing that with Paranormal Adventures in the Masonic Lodge. I'd have that up, and that was normally the last 15 minutes of our walkthrough, and I'd have it up, and I'm just like, okay, everybody hear that? All right, and then I'd isolate that little valley. All right, let's listen to this one again. Meanwhile, the host of the building's owner is like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
we got to get the next group in here. It's like,
Right.
yeah, but I've got something. You don't understand. I got something.
Got something you want to review it and share it with everybody so they understand and hopefully,
Yeah.
realize something's there.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about the Masonic Lodge is we actually got more activity than we thought. So it actually paid off in the end to have a public investigation. I would still like to get back in that building and do a private investigation and just going to have the whole place to ourselves.
All right.
But no, one night normally on a public investigation, I don't have static cams. I try not to run video because, you got your people. So if you're going to publish that work later as in, okay, listen, I want to show this off. I have a Class A EVP. I'm going to show this off. But I got it on video and audio.
Obviously, you're going to want to have both pieces of evidence there to confirm.
Right. But with a public investigation, it's kind of hard to get people to sign off saying, listen, I might use your likeness later on to post this up in a public forum. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are like, no, I don't want you using my image. So we never videotape, which always bites us in the butt later on because, Masonic Lodge, we had the little girl laughing in the back of the place. We had voices. We had shapes. The final night, I set up static cams. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to set one up facing her hallway. I'm going to set up another one facing the stage. I'm going to try to make sure that nobody's going to be around these areas. So that way, if they happen to get in the frame, they're going to be too far away to see their faces if we get something tonight. Because, that's the bad thing about a public investigation is other people's images are going to be in there.
Yeah. And obviously they want some sort of compensation.
Yeah. Or they're going to be, you can't use our images. My YouTube channel, I used to have a whole bunch of videos on there of bridge tender and seaside salts, and I let our cameraman videotape one time, and I was like, try not to get any other faces except for our teams.
Mm-hmm.
And one night, luckily, of course, we didn't get anything that night. That was when we had the drunk people and the crazy lady who apparently was a psychic medium. She was there. And yeah, she's on camera. So I had to take that footage and just kind of set it to the side. I'm like, okay, well, this is garbage.
Right.
I can't use any of this. But public is kind of fun. You can teach the next generation. You can teach the next person who comes in. Oh, but, I saw on Ghost Adventures that Zach did it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's...
Well, Zach Bagans kind of goes to the extreme.
Well, he's a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
He has a network that he has to make happy.
Right.
So he's got to do this. He has to have evidence. If you look at the Ghost Hunter show, when it first started, they would go through and debunk pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But now that they're back, and I've started watching them again because I'm like, okay, I'm curious.
Is it the Ghost Hunters or the Ghost Nation?
Ghost Hunters.
Okay, so that's back on. I gotta watch it if it's back on just to see what changes they've done.
Basically, they're finding more stuff now. They're still debunking some stuff, but they are finding more stuff. And then as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, it used to be once upon a time they debunked everything.
Mm-hmm. What I liked about Ghost Hunters initially was they were going into the homeowners. And then, like any show, then they start going to businesses because that's where all the money's coming in from. But it went away, I felt, from helping genuine, normal, everyday people to businesses that just want cash flowed in and make, get their name out there.
Yeah.
It's a way of getting their name. It's kind of like free advertising.
Yeah. And then they also hit a lot of the bucket list places.
Absolutely.
That's why DBK, we have those 3. Help the living, help the dead, bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
We 1, 2, and then 3.
Right.
Absolutely. If somebody paid me to go to Waverly Hills and investigate for a night, then yes.
Okay,
It's a
yeah.
bucket list. Yes, I would love to do that. Queen Mary. I would love to investigate the
Queen
Queen
Mary,
Mary.
absolutely. That's on the bucket
That
list.
is the bucket list.
Nicole, we're coming for you.
Hell yeah. Then of course she's got the Adobe I would love to go check out. I've been
Yes.
researching that.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there's the bucket list items, but you still got to go back to your roots and you still got to help the people.
Mm-hmm.
So public investigations, to wrap that up, it's quick, kind of dirty. It's
yeah.
You're not whining and dining the lady. It is a quick and dirty
in and out kind of a deal.
You're not putting in the true effort.
Right. It's almost like a show and go.
Yeah,
okay, this is the equipment we're using. This is how you kind of use it, and this is what we're told of the place. Let's see if we can collaborate that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know on the quiet nights at the Bridge Dinner, we've had people leave because there's nothing going on. It's like,
yeah,
they don't work on our schedule.
No.
Ghosts, entities.
If they've got something going on in the daytime there, that's when to go because that's when the activities happen.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's at night, obviously at night.
Well, they're not trained monkeys. They're not going to just pop up and go, all right, Ghost, we need you here at 8:00 because we're going to put on a show. All right. Hey.
I'll be there at 8:01.
Yeah. But no, they operate when they want to operate. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. If we get something, we get something. If we don't, then it's just going through. And I always stress with all my groups of, right at the end when we're wrapping things up and I'm gathering all the equipment back, it's like, okay, well, this is how it is. It's not Ghost Adventures where you're going to get something every second, noises. Right. And I mean, like one time at the Bridge Dinner, there was a weird noise and everybody's like, oh my God, it's a ghost. No, it's
probably the ice machine.
It was a heating duct because that's not like we had the pictures. There's heating ducts all up in there. Mm-hmm. Like we did the public investigation. Aaron led it at the Klondike. Yes, many moons ago.
Yes,
when he brought us into the fold.
Another public investigation.
I
knew nothing about that until the night I was there. I knew nothing.
That's still a place I want to get in and
back in, and absolutely.
It's just hard tracking down the current owner, and it's in between sales and But I mean, we were doing the investigation public. It's a little chaotic.
Yeah, that one, it was really, I felt a little definitely chaotic. I mean, there's what, three levels?
There's the restaurant level, 2 on top, and then there's the basement.
Okay, I don't think I ever went into the basement when we did that tour. I think we were just up on the upper 2 levels.
Oh, the basement's creepy.
But it was so stripped down that when you're trying to do an investigation on one floor, you can hear the other group on the second or another floor, and it made it really difficult because people would say, "Oh, I'm hearing something. I hear a voice." You stand there and you're like, "That's the group down below or above." So that's obviously nothing. So when it's in a public investigation in a stripped down place, and you have multiple groups in there, it makes it really difficult to get anything.
Yeah, well, I was
genuine,
I was running thermal on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the floors it's stripped. I mean, guaranteed it was hardwood floors to begin with carpets over top of it.
Yeah.
So they can just rip out the carpets, clean them, and throw the carpets back down.
Right.
Well, I'm scanning a room. We get a hot spot in the middle of the floor. And you can see a steam, a column of warmth coming up off the floor. Well, some of the people who saw this were like, oh my God, it's a ghost. I'm like, no, that would be cold. I guarantee it's cold up here already, but this is heat. So I walked into the room, even though it was taped off, and they said, don't go in through here. And I put my hand, found the spot, put my hand over it, and it's like, no, this is hot. Because we're over the kitchen.
Oh.
and the stoves were still going. They still had the stoves lit because
Okay.
they were the old type that you don't
Right.
really want to put the pilot light out.
Mm.
So all that heat had been coming up through the floor,
Right.
and that part of the floor was really weak
Because of all the heat and stuff. Yeah.
and just being old. So you had a column of heat coming up.
Wow. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was taped off and I didn't want to go in there.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to, but I did anyway.
Well, sometimes. Well,
Sometimes,
and I would say not to do that unless you get the okay to do so.
yeah, I mean that was a
Let's put that out there now.
yeah, that was a one-time deal, trying to debunk what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, public investigations. You're in, you're out.
Mhm.
You know, normally we start at 1 o'clock in the morning at the bridge
Yeah.
tender, run till about
About
three
noon,
30.
1 o'clock. Yeah. After business hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's no matter what you're doing. Like, I mean, we had a couple nights there where we didn't really have a big crowd. I think it was the first night
Oh, yeah.
2 years, well, 3 years. How many years ago that was? 2019?
Yeah. I'd probably say 2019 was 1 year where the attendance wasn't all that for the
It feels like
investigations.
2 decades ago.
It does.
It feels like forever. But yeah, the Friday night we had nobody. That's why they were doubling us up so
Mhm.
much. Is like, okay, well, we have 4 investigators. Now we're going to have 2 groups instead of 4 groups. And yeah, I mean, there just wasn't anybody.
Mhm.
Forgot where I was going with this.
It happens, man.
But no, I think we were doing stuff upstairs and there just wasn't anything. But then by the time that we were actually getting things, it was towards the end. Now I'm back on track.
Yeah,
It was towards the end of the night. I think it was like
about 3:30,
close to 3:30.
Yeah.
And they were calling the radio saying, well, we've lost everybody except for your group. And I think our group was us and 4 people,
Right.
if I remember correctly.
I believe we were upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs in up in the attic in the bordello. And we were getting some activity because the spirit box was talking. And we were intent on it. And they're like, listen, we're just, radio's coming live. Hey, we're wrapping up. We're done. No. We're getting something. We're getting stuff. But we still had to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we're finally getting responses after all this time. But now we got to wrap it up and now we got to go.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, I mean, whatever evidence you happen to get, you look at much later because, I mean, you got 2 nights back to back. And then normally you go home on Sunday and you're tired because you've been up all night. But you still want to do the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting back to the hotel about 3:30, 4 o'clock if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, you've got all your speakers starting at 9. And so you got to get up early.
Yeah, that's another thing with the public investigations versus the private. For me, like the bridge tender and whatnot, when I go to do the evidence review, obviously I'm not gonna do it right away.
Yeah.
Because I don't got really. I just show it or share it with you or Aaron or someone other than that. I'm not in a hurry per se to get through that evidence, versus a private, because the private obviously
We're there to help.
we're there to help. So obviously you're going to be on that, quickly.
A public, you put it to the side. You get done with a long weekend. You go home.
Take
you're
a
just
break
like,
or two, and then get on with the evidence review. And then, hey, you can use that and share it at a later date or at the conference. Say, hey, this is what we got at the bridge tender last year.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to try and do for the upcoming conferences. Pull up some of the old audio and stuff from bridge tenders past and put that out.
Yeah, that would be good to have like a little PowerPoint presentation to better illustrate
I'm not good
things.
with PowerPoint. The wife will have to worry about that. But yeah, it's something that I feel I'm not urgently required to do right away
Yeah,
versus the
it's
private.
you put it to the side. You get to it when you get to it.
Mhm.
But we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about private investigations and gear.
Some more gear.
So
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. And welcome back to Paranormal Crossings Into the Lights. I am Darren.
I'm James, and we're continuing our discussion on the public versus private investigations. And we got some equipment here you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, let's go over some equipment before we dive into the private investigations.
Nice, yes.
The bread and butter. So now, in the past couple of weeks, we've discussed K2s,
Mhm.
millimeters, EVPs. We've said a lot of stuff that a lot of people probably don't know what they are.
Right.
So we figure we bring in some stuff. This is just a handful of our gear. But as Aaron said once upon a time, all this is just toys. You got to use your body.
Yeah, that's it. Your body is the equipment, the tool. Follow your gut.
Yeah, these are just toys. These just help out. They're colorful. They can record the information that we need. But in the end of the day, the 5 cases I have of toys are just.
You got 5?
I've got 5 cases now. Yeah.
I'm up to 3.5.
Yeah. So why don't we go in the front here, the REM pod.
Yeah.
Want to talk about the REM pod because that is your baby.
It is my baby. It's a nice little tool. We use that over at the what was it, City Hall over there?
Yep, City Hall.
This little guy. It lights up when anything goes into. Of course, it's not going to do it now. See, yeah. Anything breaks that barrier, lets you know, hey, something's in there, and maybe we can get some UVPs. Hopefully, Class A's.
Yeah,
wherever.
Class A's would be nice.
Um,
But yeah, it's got the little lights. It's got the noise. You can just kind of set it, forget it,
absolutely.
kind of step off to the side.
Yep. And when it goes off, generally that's when I kind of go, not necessarily running, but hey, I'm walking pretty quick just to get down there and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And City Hall, that thing would not shut up.
Oh, City Hall's an active place, and hopefully someday we'll get back in there.
Nice.
And then, of course, you've got this little baby.
The little K2.
Little K2 meter. It's just the simple. It's got the green light, goes up the red light.
Mm-hmm.
You can basically just ask it nice little questions on, is there anybody here? Flash yellow for yes. And then, of course, if it was light up, I'd be a little bit more.
Right. And
But
then, yeah, we have I don't have it turned on, but we got my smaller version of the FLIR camera, senses heat and cold. And that's been helpful on many investigations and even out in the backwoods of
tracking
Scappoose.
Bigfoot. And then, of course, you got your body cam next to that one.
Yes, that was one of my newer pieces of equipment, because if you're looking in one direction, you got that body cam, it's pointing in another direction, you may catch something you're missing. But look at that, man. You know what? I'm going to end up turning this off because that's going to drive me nuts. Oh, dude, we need to turn on some audio equipment. No, that's cool. So, see, it's
All
working.
right.
But then again, electronics. Yeah, see. So,
Yeah, we don't need things going off on the show.
right.
So.
So, yeah, we're doing this.
It's not time for an investigation.
Right.
Go away. And then, of course, body cameras are good. You can keep your hands free for all the other
equipment
items
that
we have.
Absolutely. Well, you got the big boy over here.
Oh, the big boy in the back. This is the SB11.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that big.
Oh, yeah. This is the SB7. It's a little tiny one. The speaker on it's not the greatest, so you always got to run a external speak.
Yep.
But basically, this one just scans through the radio frequencies.
Yep.
And you just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the SB11, on the other hand, this runs through two different frequencies, and you can run it forward and backwards. So you can run one on AM, one on FM, and one forward, one backwards, sweeping through the radio frequencies.
Nice.
It even comes with a nice little red light. My millimeter's got a red light, which comes in handy. This one also has a temperature sensor on it. We actually use this one at the Dalles, and we were asking it questions on, okay, well, you don't want to talk through the box.
Mm-hmm.
Can you mess with the temperature? Can you raise or lower the temperature? And then it would, and it's an audible alarm, which, I'm not going to turn it on because it's loud. But yeah, it's just another spirit box we can talk through. And then
that guy right there,
the millimeter. This one's basically the same adaptation of the K2, but it's a digital numbers.
Right.
So normally I don't let beginners or the public use something like this because they're not going to know what the numbers mean.
Right.
Now, when I started, it was something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Your basic EMF detector. Wasn't anything bright or colorful. No alarms, no bells, no whistles.
Yeah. I think mine's like a step up from that. It's got all the little lights on it. So
yeah, they get really nice and complicated.
Right. And another thing that I have, walkies, for those public investigations. I don't use them in private, but in the public investigations.
It depends on how big of a place we've got.
Private wise. Yeah, true.
The Dalles Inn, we were using walkies because it was multiple floors.
Right. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of us there. So it was like, all right, well, if you're going to go sit in room, the suicide room, and I'm going to go over here to this room. If I'm going to the murder room and you're going to the suicide room, keep a radio on. Because, we had people in the ballroom, suicide room, murder room. We had people everywhere. So it's like, yeah, we better have radio so we know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the place was fully functional and operational. So there were still people present.
Right.
So we're stomping around at 3:00 in the morning. But the manager of the place wanted us there.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we've got digital recorders.
Yeah, all sorts of digital recorders.
Digital camcorders.
Yep.
Temperature sensitive guns. And end of the day, these are just all toys.
Gadgets.
Things that we can use.
They're not all going to necessarily say, oh, yes, there is a spirit right there or whatnot.
They're nice to have, especially like the K2, because of the fact that it does have simple colors. Like some of these other ones, the millimeter, it does have a backlight. Some of the older EMF detectors don't have a backlight.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have a flashlight and you're trying to
Right.
read. Yeah. But the K2s are nice because they're simple.
Mm-hmm.
Green to red. You
Yeah.
can set it down, take a few steps back, ask it to do, if there's anybody here, go to yellow. It
Right.
better not go to yellow right now.
Just a funny little story on the K2. It's kind of leading to the private investigations. My wife was using a K2 in an investigation we were doing in the house, and she was asking a bunch of questions. The K2 literally was spiking the red nonstop, and she was checking underneath the bed, in the closet, this and that. I'm like, there could be um, wiring, electron, whatever underneath that floor right there, underneath that bed, or in the wall, side of the wall in the closet. Comes to find out, there was a security system on the side wall in the closet, and she's like, "Well, it was going red." I'm like, "There's a security system right there. It's gonna go off."
Right.
And then going into the basement, couldn't quite necessarily prove the existence of wiring and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Well, like City Hall upstairs, there's one room where all the major wires of the place
mhm,
run into the IT room.
right,
And we were getting solid reds, like you said. And then it was like the people who actually worked there said, oh, yeah, this is the IT room. Everything
comes in
comes
there.
into here. And then sure enough, if you trace the lines, it's like, okay, red, 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 red. Nothing, nothing, red, 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 red. Here's the big breaker box. Okay.
Hmm.
This is all the cables for all the computers in this place. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that leads into private investigations. We call
Right.
it private investigations because of the fact it is only the teams that are going in.
Absolutely, and it's a lot more detailed
It's a lot more
work.
detailed, which is why we save the best for last. So a private investigation normally starts with us getting a call.
Yep.
And hey, I've got something in my house. I would like it looked at.
Yep. Need some help. Something's going on. Stuff's flying off the shelves or counters or something. I'm being tugged at night or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
So step number one for us is normally talk to the homeowners and sit down interview.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do a sit down interview with people.
Yep. Face to face.
Face to face. You can read their body language. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we got a list. Some of us have a list of questions already on a clipboard ready to go. I'm a little bit.
You're on the fly kind of a guy with the questions.
No. I have a list of.
You do.
I have a clipboard I take into every investigation,
Yeah.
and it's questions and questions and okay,
I think most teams do have like some sort of a form, that the potential client will fill out with however much information they can give you
yeah.
on that, and then you can kind of go off and
Well,
ask those secondary questions and dig into it more.
yeah, and it's basically getting a background check
Mhm.
on the people. Okay, and some of the questions are a little intrusive. Are you on any medication? Do
Yeah.
you have any psychosis?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be like, "Is this necessary?" I'm like, "Well, it kind of is."
Unfortunately, it is. I mean, because yeah, I mean, maybe you're on some medications that's just weirding you out, and you're hallucinating when there's really nothing going on, and yeah,
Yeah, I
all
mean,
sorts
you
of things.
as a paranormal investigator, um, you need to know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people call us ghost hunters, but we're investigators.
Absolutely.
I mean, we get a little sore about ghost hunters because we're not
We're-
hunting, we're investigating.
we should be explorers, not hunters.
I don't know. I do like the German version, Geistjäger. It sounds better.
It's
It's
just
ghost
that
hunter.
just sounds good. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
So,
but
but getting back with those
getting back,
questions and
yeah, you're asking the questions, you're investigating their claims,
Mhm.
and then normally, like with us, it's go to the library, go to the county museum, and go, okay, so 123 South First Street was, it's a house now. What was it before?
Mhm.
All right. So these people are saying they see somebody in 1800s garb walk around at 3 o'clock in the morning. Da, 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 da. Okay. So when was the house built? Okay. House is 1840s. All right. Okay. So we've got something that correlates
Yeah.
to what's going on. All right. So 1800s garb would kind of fit.
Mhm.
Then you start looking into the house a little bit more, who owned it, history of the place, history of the town. There's a lot of history that goes on. There's a lot of
Yep.
research. You
Any
know,
kind of death or whatever's going on. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. All sorts of research,
yeah,
which I need to get more into.
yeah. I mean, because a lot of people, like I said at the top of the hour, that a lot of people think we just roll in, knock on the door, go in,
Say we're here.
boom.
What's going on? Yep.
Yeah, but
No.
we need to have the information. We need to know the history of the place. Need to know what's going on. All right, so now we've done all the history, we've done all the research, we've got all the names of everyone that's
Mhm.
ever lived there.
Then you kind of set up a time for an investigation to get in there,
Well,
or you just
first of all, we got to do a walkthrough of the place before
well,
we do the actual investigation.
yes, my bad, sir.
No, no worries, no worries.
I'm just jumping ahead. You know
You're
those
playing
walkthroughs.
you're playing the part of Joe Public. Oh, you get to go now? No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no.
no, that's
Now we
not
got to
it.
go inside and take all of our doodads and go. Okay,
This is
you see
happening over
somebody
here.
in the kitchen that's
Mhm.
walking through from left to right. Da, 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 da. Is there anything in the kitchen? We got to go through, scan everything. Okay, this is a power box junction. This is going to be hot.
Yep.
Oh, this is a Wi Fi box.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be hot. Like we said before. Okay, yeah. So anything we get here, bad. It's false positive.
Mhm.
Anything we get here, false positive. Anything we get over here, false positive. Okay, so now you're saying you've got rattling pipes at a certain time.
Check the plumbing.
Then we got to check the plumbing.
Yeah.
We were on one case, they were talking about the pipe rattled underneath the house. So we went in the basement, and some pipes should be like connected to a beam, so they're
Mhm.
not. Yeah, this one had already rusted through and was just hanging there.
Oh,
So if you ran water,
it bounces.
it would bounce.
Okay.
So I mean,
Yep.
that's part of the private investigation of debunking anything that might be happening beforehand.
Mhm.
Oh, there's a cold spot here. Well, I've got a temperature gun.
Yep.
You got
The flare.
the flare. So we got to go and go, okay, you're getting a cold spot next to this window. Like at the Klondike.
Mhm.
Had to debunk that one. Didn't want to. Ooh, there's a cold spot here. We're next to the window.
Yep. Just yeah.
The window has cardboard over it. So you pull back the cardboard a little bit. The
yeah.
window's open. We're in October.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we got a cold spot here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it doesn't sound very much fun. Oh my God, you guys are just going through and just telling these people they're crazy. No, we're taking all the evidence.
The information that they give us, trying to debunk it, say, hey, no, this isn't paranormal. This is just everyday, real stuff that needs to be, obviously paid attention to. Get the pipes fixed, close that window, or even insulate around the window better, things of that nature.
Yeah. It's narrowing down what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure our audience is going, God, man, you guys are just trashing on people's hopes and dreams that maybe they got something. Well, no. It gets better. It gets better.
Absolutely.
We have to eliminate the false positives before we even start the investigation. So normally that's for our team. We get there an hour or two beforehand, basically just walking through the house. You've done your personal investigation, your questionnaire with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Then you walk through the house and you're like, okay, we're going to scan everything, which some of my team really doesn't like. They want to get to the meat and potatoes. They don't like the salad. It's
Right.
like, well, we got to get through the salad before we get to the meat and potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Know where the false positives are so you can rule those out later. And then you get to go lights out. So you've walked through the house, you've looked at everything, you've ruled out things. Okay, bum, 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 cold window. Up. You need a new window. The window seal's busted. Then we get to bust out the big toys. Then we get into the meat and potatoes.
All right.
And then it's. Now here's where it's going to get real boring, people.
Then
You think it's all exciting. We're gonna break a few myths. A lot of investigations is normally going, James, I need you to go in that room over there. It used to be the kids' room. They hear toys playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then James goes and takes a meter, a digital recorder, and a camera.
I might even take the REM pod.
And then you go sit in a room.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody here? Can you make this light up?
You're having a conversation with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I was stuck in one of the murder room at the Dow's Inn by myself, had all my gear laid out, laying on a bed, having a discussion with myself.
Those are the best kind of discussions, really.
Yeah, I mean, the camera's going, got the night vision on.
Because, when you're having those discussions with yourself, you're just talking and just, hey, that's when you could sometimes get the best evidence.
Hopefully
Hopefully.
you get the evidence.
Hopefully.
And you're just not sitting in a room for an hour with nothing. But see, that's
I've
also
done that too.
Yeah. But sometimes you think you're in a room and nothing happened. We'll cover that in evidence review. So just bookmark that little part. Sometimes you think nothing has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we'll get back to that. So you go through, you do the investigations, you run the cameras, you set up static cameras at all the major areas that they've said, oh yeah, these are all the hot spots.
Right.
All right, well, there's 6 of us. City Hall, we have to put up static cams because the place is too big.
Right.
There's upstairs, there's downstairs, there's 2 different wings. You're kind of all over the place. So it's like, all right, set up a digital recorder in this room. You got to tag it. Hi, this is Darren, City Hall investigation, 10/31/19.
Such a room.
Such and such room. We are now leaving the room. And then it just sits there and it records. Your static cameras are running. I always like to say that to the static cams as well. Just kind of a, okay, we are now leaving.
Yep.
You leave the room. You tell everybody, okay, this room is going to be recorded. And then anyone else that has to come in the room. This is James. I'm coming back into the council chamber room. The time is 2:05. Yep. This is James. I am now leaving the council chamber room. The time is 2:06.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back amongst your things. But you've got your static cams, you've got your static EVP recorders, your digital recorders going. And we're trying to cover as much area as possible.
Right.
Hence the body cams, the other cameras, the gear, me wearing my SWAT vest so I can put all the stuff in the pockets.
Yeah, I have my own SWAT vest. Very lightweight.
Very lightweight, and I know a lot of people think we're packing a lot of stuff. Normally, I need to keep my hands free, so I've got a K2, I've got the millimeter, and I've either got an SB7 or SB11, and trying to carry all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't physically do and record, and
right.
So that's why I like my vest.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the night is sitting in a room in the dark.
It's not pleasant all the time, but
it's not all the time. It's definitely not Ghost Adventures. It's they show you some of how we do it, But sometimes you could be sitting in a room for a long time in the dark with nothing going on.
Right. On some of your private investigations, have you actually had the homeowner or whoever will go throughout the place with you,
Um,
or do you have them leave?
I kind of almost prefer them to leave. I know the Tiger Demon House, they stayed there because they really didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
But they did kind of just let us do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, though, I'll try to say, can you just,
Come back in a couple hours
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. I'm,
Unless,
I'm
of course, they don't want us to leave. They don't want to leave us alone.
yeah.
Then I'll be like, all right, you can hang tight. Just,
Just keep as quiet as possible. And
I think there was one instance I actually got the homeowner with a, listen, I need you to, okay, so this is happening in your room. Could you sit in your room with a digital recorder? I'll put a static cam. And
I was just gonna say, one good thing with the homeowner there is if it's happening to them, and if you're in that room or whatnot, and nothing's going on, it could be attached to them and only goes off when they're there. So use them as a trigger object.
trigger object, next topic.
Yes.
So, trigger objects. So, we've got most of the investigation down. We're sitting around, we're talking trigger objects. Trigger objects are something that will entice or set off a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They mean not set off, more entice to talk. The bordello, I had the bag of change. When we asked, is this enough? No, you don't have enough. Sometimes it could be, okay, well, the person who owned this house was a sailor, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we need to find something that would be particular to that individual.
Right.
That person liked unicorns, so we're going to bring in a unicorn. It was a little kid who liked footballs. We bring in a football to try to coax out a response to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And trigger objects are just kind of cool to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Absolutely.
once you start to get a feeling for what's going on and you start bringing that in, sometimes
you can know how to use those trigger objects better once you know what is actually going on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you get a response from a trigger item.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way okay, we need to be using this.
Right.
A bag of coins, footballs, toy cars, sailor hats, whatever is useful for that situation in that place.
Or even if you have something of whoever they may think it could be, if it's a relative or something.
Pictures, personal objects. Yep. Yeah, those are kind of cool to use. And once we've done the research to figure out the type of area we can hit those trigger objects. Now I know people are going, oh, okay. Now we're using trigger objects. Now we're sitting around. Well, we're still technically kind of sitting around in the dark, hoping for something to happen.
Right.
It's a lot of sit and wait. Now, mind you, we're there all night. City Hall, normally we start about 9 o'clock at night, and we end up around 3.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, City Hall. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of there as long as the people will allow us. Private investigation, we can actually start and be there all night long. Well, Tiger Demon House, we could have been there till dawn.
Absolutely.
But at that point, we were getting enough stuff, and
yeah, that's. I think one investigation that's just gonna taint a few things for me for a while. I'm sorry, yeah. It is what
we're going to hit those cases.
Absolutely, I know it.
But also, so we've done the private investigation, we've done the trigger objects, we've done the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I normally have my team fill out an after action report.
Right.
They don't like doing it. I'm like, no. Here's a clipboard. Here's your paperwork. I need your views on this.
Absolutely.
And they just want to tell me. And I'm like, no. I need it on
Paper.
paper.
Because what you'll do, you'll take that information with all the other evidence and combine it, and kind of go over it and explain it obviously to the homeowner.
Well, my point with them
Or
filling out is I want your honest opinion, not shared with anybody else at this point.
right,
So up to this
that too.
point, you fill it out,
What your thoughts are,
your thoughts, your feelings, what you've encountered,
what's your impressions. Yeah. Yep.
and then I'll do depending on what it is, I'll try and do an end of investigation huddle, which is also packing everything away, and then you're reading everyone's sheets, and you're like, okay, so and so saw this on this room on their turn through it.
So you're basically kind of looking through the sheets to see if one person's had something happen in there. You're going through and seeing if it happened with somebody else as well.
Right. We're trying to compare notes on, this way if Kayla's sitting around and we're doing these things, well, I saw something in the library. And then Billy Bob over here is going, oh, yeah. I saw something in the library too. Well, no, put it on paper before you talk about it. That way, at that point, it's not we have not coerced
Yeah.
your experiences.
Given the same stories, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't just, oh, yeah, I like the color blue too.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's more of a, okay, put down what you got.
A blue versus a greenish blue.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we compare notes and go, okay, we're wrapping up. Everything's packed away. Put everything in the car. We take off. Is the investigation over?
Oh,
No.
long shot.
We are still not done. We have left the location. We have gone home because at this point we're kind of tired.
Mm-hmm.
Investigation evidence review. Oh, not the time to be done at this juncture. Caffeine is worn out. We're punchy. We're loopy. You go home, you get some sleep.
Yeah, I would say after an investigation, go home, get some sleep, get a clear head before going into that evidence review with an open mind. Because if you go from an investigation straight to evidence review, I feel you could be tainted a little bit because you've got all that stuff going on in your head from being in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh. All right. I think we're going to take another break and we'll come back
Okay.
and we will finish up on private investigations.
The
evidence review.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
welcome back. Now we're going to start a little discussion with evidence review with the private
The
investigations.
private investigation, evidence review, the most fun part
Absolutely.
of the entire investigation. So you've gone to bed, you've gotten up. I normally take that stack of papers that I've had my team fill out.
Yep.
They've moaned and they've groaned about. I set that to the side. I've got another sheet set up for evidence review.
Mm-hmm. So you can log stuff that you
I can
found.
log stuff in. So
Yep.
first of all, normally what I'll try to do is audio.
Mhm.
Because like we said at the beginning, I love to listen to audio. It's easy. I can just sit there, put on my headphones, and then do this forever.
Yeah, I tend when I do evidence review on audio, obviously have the headphones on and whatnot. I close my eyes because I concentrate better. I'm out there, I'm looking or listening intently to try and catch something.
Yeah, and then normally I just do the dead stare. Like sometimes I'll do evidence review at work on my
Mhm.
lunch or something, and I'm sitting at my desk just,
Nice. Uh
and people were walking by going, "What is? Are you having a stroke?"
huh. And then it's that minute you actually catch something. You're like, wait, what? I gotta rewind that back, listen to it again.
Yeah, you shuffle back. Okay, so what time was that? That was 1 minute, 35 seconds in. All right, we're gonna jot that down. Listen, listen, listen. I think it says hello. So I'll normally write
Right.
that down
Yep.
and then
Mhm.
listen to it, about 5, 6 times. Okay, all right. Is it hello? Pump up the sound a little bit, pump up a little bit of the, equalizer. Okay.
Try to get it clear. Yeah.
Try to get it clear. Stick with it. Go, okay, do I change it from hello or is it hello? And once I feel comfortable with that, okay, so 134, hello. And then I'll make a little notation off to the side: male voice, female voice,
Right.
old voice, young voice, just so you
Kind of separate it for
separate it out.
if you catch something else that's obviously if one's male and the other one's female, obviously you'll know.
Yeah. But I like to put all that down so it's just sitting there.
Mhm.
And I'll note the time, continue listening, get to the next one, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
So once I'm done with that, then I go to the video. Because normally with audio, if you're there for 6 hours, most people would think you've got 6 hours. Oh, you only have 6 hours of video, 6 hours of audio. No, I have 3 digital recorders. I have 4 cameras.
So you're looking, say, 6 hours in audio. That's 3 audios. There's 18 hours of audio.
Yeah,
It takes several days, obviously.
it takes a while unless you get more people involved.
Yeah. Do you like assign somebody, say, for audio or video, or do you just
Normally, I'll go through it first, and I'll make and
make your
catalog all
Mhm.
my notes and stuff, and then I'll bring the next person in and sit them down with the headphones because some people don't like just to sit and
So you'll have them listen to those little sections and get their opinion of what you heard.
yeah. I'll say, okay, here are the times that I won't show them what's
No.
being said,
Right.
but I'll have all the times written down off to the side. Okay, minute 34.
Start it here, let it run for however long it is. Oh, can you replay that?
Yeah, it's like, okay,
How many
what do you hear at a minute 34?
Mhm.
Write down your notes. And then we'll compare them. Okay, you heard, how are you? I heard hello. You had an old man's voice. I had an old man's voice.
Mhm.
Okay, so then we can go back and have the third person go through and rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Okay, so we filter it down. I know Aaron has a lot of stuff that he puts on like Google Drive in open folders that he shares with other people. That way we can all sit there and go through it.
And kind of
Get
our
it.
feedback.
Get our feedback.
Mhm.
The Dallas in, I know we did a lot of shared evidence, but we never said what was on that evidence. He would tag me, send me a message. Hey, 17 minutes in on this file. Give it a listen. So then I would go through and go to 17 minutes.
The death stare.
And then, the zombie stare off into nothingness. Yeah, I heard this in a man's voice. And then we'll compare notes.
Mm-hmm.
But so after you sit there, like on Ghost Hunters, they always do the evidence review, and it's like two guys sitting in a bank of computers with headphones in a hotel room somewhere, and they make it look like it's just so quick and easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, they've been sitting here for an hour. No, like you said, it takes a lot of time.
Depending on how much equipment you're using. I mean, if you got 6 hours of audio, you got 6 hours of listening per audio. 6 hours of video, depending on how many video cameras you've got, 6 hours there per. That it could take a week, maybe, two. I don't know about you, but when I've done evidence review, I'll let the homeowner know. Generally, give us a week or so, so we can go through all the evidence. If it takes longer, we'll let you know and get back to you on it. And generally, pretty good by then.
Yeah, if the homeowner is asking for something within a week or two,
Give them,
then it's more like I start assigning. Okay, I will listen to this video, this audio. You listen to this video, this audio, and you got this video and this audio, and we're going to go through these, and then make your notes, and then we'll get together, compare them.
Right.
Ask the next person what did you hear at 17 minutes in.
Yeah.
And then of course, we're not even talking photos.
No.
We haven't even covered photos yet.
Jeez, no.
Because then you got to look at the photo, and then you got to blow it up, and then you got to look at every single area. And then, of course, when you're taking photos, you got to take 2 or 3 or 4 all.
Yeah, and with me, Heidi loves photos. So all she normally does is takes photos, everywhere. She'll take a K2 and an audio recorder, set that stuff down. She'll ask questions why she's taking the photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she has gotten some good stuff.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the photos is if you get 3 in a row, look at 1, look at 2, look at 3. Now we've gotten a figure in the second photo, but not in the first or second, or first or third.
Right, or even like a good example, like last week when I had those 3 for the British Sender, 3 pictures in a row, nothing in the first one, nothing in the second one. It was the third one that actually there was something in.
Yeah, because that way you can actually sit there and go, okay, we've got something on this one because there's nothing in these other 2.
Right.
Now then, after we've done all the evidence review, video, audio, pictures, we've met with the team, we've gone over everything with the team, we've gone over all
aspects,
we've gone over their paperwork, my paperwork, because I like to have that paperwork on hand, because that way I've got my thoughts and feelings, their thoughts and feelings,
right?
Especially right after an investigation, it's still fresh.
Absolutely.
Because if you wait a week to have another team meeting, well, I'm not really sure, but I think this happened. Now
that's leaving it up for interpretation.
Yeah, it's like that's why I bring the paperwork. I know we didn't do it the last couple times at City Hall, but yeah, normally I like to have the briefcase sitting off to the side. All right, you here. I got paperwork for a psychic medium if we get one back in stock.
I need to find one.
Yeah.
I know I got one on loan if I need to from time to time,
but yeah, there's lead investigator, so much paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put all that in a file after all done. So we've gone through everything. We've gone through the paperwork. We've gone through the team meeting. We've discussed it to death. Now we go back to the homeowner.
Oh, yeah.
And we go through and we go, okay, yes, at 1 minute, 34 seconds on the first night, we caught this. What do you think it says to you?
Right.
Because that's where ghost hunters and sometimes ghost adventures, when they're doing their evidence review with the clients, they kind of get it right.
Yeah.
They kind of get it right. Because you want to show everything. You wanted to let them know, yes, okay, your pipes that were banging in the bathroom are because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Your cold spot over here is because your
Oh,
weather ceilings
right.
needs to be
And
replaced.
obviously, these are the corrections you need to make to get that fixed. They give their recommendations.
And then, of course, then we let them in on the other stuff. So we've debunked the stuff that we can debunk,
Mm-hmm.
and then we bring it back around saying, okay, but these are things that we found
That we could not.
we cannot debunk. And we'll let them know, is it a residual haunting or an intelligent haunting?
Mhm. Now, with all that, before all that, if you've caught something, say, and you really want to get a definition of it, do you go back to that location and see if you can debunk what you heard?
It's one of those situations if the homeowner will allow
If
it.
it'll allow it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now then, we've discussed all that. We've talked to the homeowners, the business owners.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone over everything. Now the bucket list is a little bit different because we're not interviewing anybody. We're not.
It's just
It's
something
something for us.
Yeah.
Um,
It's almost like a vacation of
it
sorts.
is a vacation. It's a ghost hunter's dream,
Yeah.
a Geistjäger's dream of just going in Waverly Hills, Penn State, Penhurst, etc., Stanley Hotel,
I need to get back there.
McMenamins, Queen Mary. I mean, you just keep naming off the places that are big in the paranormal world, and you're like, I'm not there to help anybody. Alcatraz. I just want to go in and test my skills.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, you're wearing a Ghostbusters shirt.
I am.
I mean, we all kind of grew up on, I mean, before paranormal investigating got as big as it is, we had the Ghostbusters.
Right.
I mean, we had all your psychic mediums, your Ouija boards, your everything else growing
Tarot
up.
card readers.
Tarot card readers. You had all that growing up. Paranormal investigation, it seems to be everyone's got a show on paranormal investigations. But those of us that are just here to do it because we enjoy helping people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we do have our bucket list options that you just feel like a little kid in a candy store.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. But going back, to the evidence review, when you're talking to a client, telling them, hey, this is residual or whatnot. Now, if it's something that you can't, for say, help with, you can give out, recommendations. Hey, I know so-and-so that can come in here, cleanse, or here's my recommendations,
Yeah.
that will help.
That's where Paraunity comes into play.
Since we know so many.
We know so many, and that way, like you said, if we talk to the homeowner, okay, this is a situation.
I mean, because it's one thing to go in, do the investigation, give the client our findings. But at the end of the day, we're there to help them. If we personally can't help them, we know somebody that can.
Right. Well, I mean, that's always a question I always ask them at the end. After I've done all the review and everything else, it's like, okay, are you happy with the ghost? I'll let them know, okay, this is an intelligent ghost. It's an intelligent haunting. It's talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably interacting with you. Or it's just
a residual.
It's just
gonna.
It's just a tape. It's just gonna keep playing
back and forth.
Now, what do you want to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
Tiger. It's a demon. I want it out of my house. Okay, hang on. Let me get on the Paraunity line and call in somebody.
Yep.
So, like you said, at the end of the day, you ask the client, what do you want us to do with this? I mean, I've had cases where they're like, oh, well, it's just a little kid and, it's just fine. Or, oh, it's a young woman, she's fine. I just want to know what was going on.
Yeah. And maybe some cases something's going on. The homeowner knows it's going on. They just want to know, hey, just to confirm their thoughts, feelings, and just maybe want to maybe coexist with them and say, hey, you can do run free from here this time to this time, but let me have this time to myself.
Yeah.
Coexist.
Yeah.
Then obviously there's those others that say, nope.
Get them out.
Yep.
Which is where we're helping the living and or helping the dead, because maybe the dead want to move on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the ghost is haunting the place so bad, is
to get help.
It wants help to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're
it's getting the attention of the client, and the client's reaching out to us for the help.
And then we can establish
who
help the living, help the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're helping the dead move on. Now the dead's not there because they want to go on. And then everybody's happy.
Right. At the end of the day, like kind of like the motto we have is like, every place has a story. We just have the paranormal tell us that story.
Yep.
That's how I feel. It's okay. They're reaching out for a reason. Like you said, they may need help moving on, or they just want to be acknowledged that they're there.
Yeah.
Obviously like the Queen Mary and things of that nature. I don't think there's anything negative there. They just want to be acknowledged that they're there, and to thank people that are telling their story, like Nicole.
Exactly.
And like, I still think she's not even hit the tip of the iceberg there.
No, I don't think she has.
Not even close.
Which is why she needs to have us come down and do a private investigation.
Right? All three teams?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Now that we've talked about a lot of the investigation stuff, but there is one part of being a paranormal investigator that we really don't like to do, and it's turning down cases.
Oh, yes.
And some of these cases, they're people looking for attention. For example, I had a woman sending DBK videos and stuff of, there is a ghost in my house and this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So she sent me videos of all the things that were happening.
Right.
Now, up to this point, I'm like, all right, hey, we got a case, because that's what we do.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, we got a case. We got to go. Ghostbusters. Janine, we got one. Hit the alarm and fire poles, and away we go.
Right.
But some of these videos she was sending me, I'm looking at them. I'm like, okay. So one video she sends me, her 3-year-old child is coming into the bedroom and walking that direction, walking off to the right. Now, as the child is walking and turns and starts that right hand turn, his hair's blowing. Now, she's saying that there's a poltergeist. It is playing with her child's hair. As I'm watching the video,
is there a fan in there?
There's a fan right here. As the child has entered the room, the fan is in the picture. It's in frame, and it's on.
Oh.
Because you can hear it through the video.
Yeah.
So as the kid gets in front to make the right hand turn to go down towards the bedroom,
the hair and
it's hitting the hair. And she sends me another one.
It's the same thing.
It's her dog. It's a husky running through the house, jumping onto the bed, because she's laying in bed. The husky jumps up, and a bunch of hair flies off in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you've got the fan on right here.
So she just
she's thinking it's more than it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I have a husky. Huskies shed a lot.
Right.
Year round. You've got a fan. The dog is jumping. The hair is flying off. It's not. I can see the fan. If it was a big clump of hair being pulled off and being held suspended or thrown or something, but you've watched the video and it's going on that line of a fan, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure we can help you on this one, but we could probably pass you off to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you're debunking it while you're watching the video. What's the point of, in a way, what's the point of going out?
Well, I actually, that one I did pass her off to somebody else.
Poor soul.
Well, I just couldn't help her. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, you keep sending me these
Yeah,
videos.
and there's, I mean, there's gonna be cases where that it's maybe too far out of your depth or your knowledge, and being in the paranormal community, that another team is more capable of handling that situation.
Or sometimes you're just like, listen, I don't see anything here.
Yeah.
Let me pass you off to somebody else. Maybe
Maybe
they'll have the resources, but I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I know that person went to the other team that's now defunct, and I don't know anything that came out of that one. But
wow. So yeah, luckily enough for me, I've not had to turn down any investigation so far, and I've only done really just a small handful since COVID hit and me just reforming a team myself. So
yeah, DBK is pretty much at a standstill right now. I mean, we've got so many places that are like, well, once COVID's done, you can come in.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Once COVID's over, hopefully it ends soon. All these places that have been quiet for so long can be that may be really active by the time we get in there.
Yeah.
So help some people out, private or public.
Or public.
Absolutely.
Either or. We got to get back in the business. We got to get back at. Otherwise, it's me going to a cemetery and bringing out the bag of tricks just to practice.
Yeah. I have not done a cemetery yet, but I know a few people that say cemeteries are good places to get evidence as well. Not 200% on that, but.
Well, I know the cemetery that the guy who built St. Helens City Hall, I went to his gravesite and we got answers.
Nice.
So.
Well, I may have to head down that direction.
I know we got to throw something together. I mean, I got new team members coming on, and I got to get them, got to get them trained.
Yeah.
Plus, got to get the training out in ourselves because
we're getting rusty.
We're getting rusty.
Yeah.
I can only talk to the ghost in the house so many times. I think he's bored. He's left.
It's sad when, for like me, I got a couple cameras up in my house. One for my elderly father-in-law, just to keep an eye on him. But my house is haunted as well.
Yeah.
And my dogs go ape shit crazy, especially my female pit. She'll bark at nothing, all times of night and whatnot. And I know something's in the kitchen. Trying to put up cameras so I can get that that video, the audio, just to try and keep fresh a little bit, Okay, well, it's time to look at the video for the day. Let's see if we caught something. Audio, hey, I haven't done the audio, but video.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. I know there's got to be something. The dog's barking at something, and lately it's more like the stepson he's always noisy, slamming doors, stomping. So
yeah,
kind of debunks a few things, but hey, at least I know.
It's the life of a paranormal investigator. Hopefully we can get back out there. We can do the things we do.
Things we we love.
But next week, Aaron will hopefully be back with us. And hopefully we are going to have a mind-blowing topic. We don't know what it is yet, but tune in, see what we come up with. Enjoy the chaos.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.